Not convinced it ain't no acting or accident what the track emits. You strapped with gas that you ain't even practiced with. The fact is.
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. We gotta talk about Smackdown from October the 22nd, 2021. And this was kind of a reboot of Smackdown. This was a week off, essentially. They didn't really do much of anything. A lot of the people here had to wrestle in Saudi Arabia just 24 hours prior. So they were on flights and probably were very tired. So they didn't really do that much. I think they should have leaned on the people who didn't go a little bit more. But it was still okay. You could say that they were just mostly planting seeds for what was going to happen in the future for SmackDown. And you knew something was up. It's typical WWE, of course, but 40 minutes into the show, 0 matches. 0. All we got was Brock brocking and Roman gloating. You know, Brock brocked hard in this joint. I mean, I think Brock shows you don't need to have a match. You don't need to have a 40-minute match. You can have a 40-minute temper tantrum and be entertaining. Because people like monster movies, people like Godzilla and King Kong and shit like that. And if you want to go and break stuff, and human beings being one of the things you're going to break, you'll get over. And Brock does that very well. So we started with Roman, and Roman's, of course, gloating that he defeated Brock Lesnar. He's still the Universal Champion. And then he has Paul Heyman read Brock Lesnar's tweet. So he's like, I beat Brock Lesnar so bad, he's tweeting now. Which is odd because Brock doesn't tweet. So Roman is feeling very good about himself, and he wants Brock to come out there. He wants to beat up Brock again. But I don't know why anybody is that, like, to get full of yourself to that degree. You know, you're completely delusional. You know, like, I'm going to call out Brock Lesnar. It's like, sure. Go for it, pal. You know, we're live, pal. You know, let's see what happens after that. And we know what happens after that. Brock went out there and brocked, and he just tore everything apart. He blasted Roman with some steps. He threw the Usos all over the building. You know, he mangled some referees. And then my favorite part is when he decided he hadn't had enough yet. There was more buildings to be smashed. Had you ever played that game? It was like a Super Nintendo game, or was it a Nintendo 64 game, Rampage, where you had to be like a Godzilla. You had to smash these buildings and stuff, like boom, 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 boom. Every time Brock throws one of these temper tantrums, that's all I see. It's like, ooh, dude, Hulk smash. You know, it's like, you were like, oh my God. It never gets old either. It's never like, oh, Brock's brocking again. You know, get the restraints. He's out of control. It's not boring. I could watch Brock Lesnar throw people around forever. And, you know, it's easy to see the visual of Mad Viking Brock, who is been fucked over, and he really wants to get his hands on Roman again. But back to Adam Pearce. Adam Pearce decides that he wants to suspend Brock Lesnar indefinitely. Of course, they had to write Brock off TV because he ain't gonna be around for a while. So Brock didn't like that, so he came out there and said that he couldn't hear Adam Pearce. He wanted Adam Pearce to say it again. So Adam Pearce says, "You're indefinitely suspended," and he pays for those words. He pays mightily for those words. S5, that his pants is torn. This guy's a complete victim. He gets his, he gets it again, and we don't see any more Adam Pearce for the rest of the night. This, of course, led to the classic. I did not hear you. Can you say it again, please? And Adam Pearce is like a corpse at this point. He does not want any more. Like, no mas. I'm sorry, but it stands. Like, I got to give credit to Adam Pearce. He had the balls to do it. he had the balls to suspend Brock Lesnar, and he meant it. He did it. So Brock has been suspended. He's going to be gone for a while. They didn't really do a good job of planting the seed for Roman's next opponent because Survivor Series is next. So that means the WWE Champion is next. So they didn't really do a good job there. That's a whiff and a miss. They basically used this as a denouement, what they call, or an epilogue to the Brock Roman storyline, which it's okay, I guess. And you pushed it off till next week. So I enjoyed Brock Lesnar brocking, and Adam Pearce got brocked pretty hard, man. And ooh boy, I love it. Adam Pearce, they've been trying to get physical with Adam Pearce for a while, and they finally got around to it. All right, so Naomi wants to fight Sonya Deville. She wants to fight Sonya Deville again. Sonya says it's not about her. This story it's chaos around here because Brock doing stuff. I don't have time for you. I got more important things to do. And Naomi kind of turns and walks away, but we don't really develop this story anymore. But I think that the seeds are still there, that something is going to happen. Something's going to change. I think this needed more development. And Naomi definitely should have been angrier at this whole ordeal. Like, she really should have came in fist of fire. She should have came in and thrown Sonya Deville all over the place. And really beat the hell out of Sonya Deville. To the point where the referees and all of them kind of had to stop her. But this wasn't the last time we saw Sonya Deville tonight. Because we saw her in the closing segment, not the main event match. There was no main event match. It was a closing segment, which was the dumbass title exchange, which they actually set aside time for. Becky and Charlotte. So Charlotte was all about the title exchange. She was like, just give up the belt, Becky. And Becky was like, oi, Becky, 2 belts. Why not? Why not do it again? Becky, 2 belts. And I never lost the Raw Women's title and all that shit, right? She still had her head up her ass. And they very reluctantly, traded belts, with Becky throwing her belt at Charlotte. And Charlotte politely hands over the Raw Women's title because, she's a champion. She doesn't care. And Becky throws the title at Charlotte. Oh my man. They both were wearing wrestling gear, so it seemed like something was supposed to happen. Charlotte did challenge Becky to a match at the show. And she's like, how about we do winner take all right now? And the crowd was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, that's better than the title exchange. We didn't get neither one of those things. Which was unfortunate. We got the title exchange, which I absolutely hate. It's supreme weakness, and it's like, it's record padding. It's like, now, is that number 16 for Charlotte now, 17 or whatever? She didn't win that belt though. It should just be a continuance of her title run. But I don't see what the purpose of this shit is. The title exchange takes all the... That's why the champion should have been excluded from the draft, because they don't know what to do. So we're just going to trade belts. It's like, that's stupid. You keep track of how many titles people win. If you didn't keep track of how many titles people won, then the title exchange wouldn't be that big of a deal. But since you keep track of this stuff and they're equivalent titles, so you have to say, okay, if she's world champion now and she's being traded for a world title, that's another world title. So they could just keep trading back and forth and get the 38-time champion. Why not? It costs you nothing to trade belts, right? It's stupid. Stupid. It's so stupid. I hate it so much. So Sasha Banks comes out there and does a thing with her hips. And I'm glad I wasn't the only one who saw it. Because I thought, like, hey, Sasha Banks about to come out here and fuck everything up. And make this segment a lot worse than it really is. And then she did that thing, and then she did it in concert with the beat to the song. And I was like, wait a minute. All right now. Okay. Her man needs to look out. Because there's gonna be a lot of dudes out here trying to bump him off and trying to make Sasha Banks a widow, just for a chance to get pieces of crumbs from Sasha Banks. Either way, she's bad. She's wearing a bodysuit. Love bodysuits, by the way. I didn't think I was going to like them as much as I do. But I seen a lot of WWE women have moved towards the bodysuit. Bianca Belair has done it, and Charlotte's done it. Now Sasha Banks is doing it. It's the form-fitting bodysuit is not bad. I like it. So Sasha Banks comes out there, calls herself the star of the show. She's the blueprint. She's the best everywhere she is. And for every Friday night is boss time. She also called them bitches on network television. So there's probably going to be an FCC violation for that. But it's not a big deal, really. Charlotte says that Sasha just feels left out. And then Becky says, well, I'm done here, actually. So I'm going to leave. And therefore she leaves. And nothing happens. Becky just walks away and says, I'll see whoever at Survivor Series. It is what it is. I'm done here. And I'm just kind of like, wow, how anticlimactic was that? And then I'm like, okay, she'll probably just come back for the big brawl. Because there's about to be a big brawl, right? Of course there's a big brawl. Sasha and Charlotte get into it. They're hair pulling and punching and doing stuff. Meteors and everything. And Sonya Deville gets in there and separates them. And I'm thinking, okay, this is the part where maybe Naomi comes out there or Becky Lynch or somebody runs out to the ring and beats up Sonya Deville. Or, Becky re-engages and hits somebody with the belt or something like that. None of that occurred. None of that occurred. They just gave us a very flat Sasha Banks is now, I'm guessing, a babyface and is going to wrestle Charlotte. And I just put my head in my hands because it's everything that I feared when it comes to the horsewomen being on the same show. Is that now they're magnetically attracted to each other. And it's going to be Sasha, Charlotte for the next 4 fucking months. I can see it coming. Oh, Jesus. If this time is spent occupying Charlotte so that other people can be built up, it'll be worth it. But it won't. It will not. I can just see it already. It's just going to be Sasha and Charlotte back and forth for forevermore. And nobody else will get a chance. And I mean by chance, I mean not chance at being the champion. I'm talking about being pushed. I'm talking about getting a sustained spotlight. That's what I mean by a chance. I don't ever think somebody should just be the champion just because, it's their time. No, there usually has to be a reason for it. So Sasha is now Charlotte's next opponent, I'm guessing, which makes sense because she did beat Becky, but she did lose to Becky at Crown Jewel. And we got away from that Charlotte Bianca Belair thing pretty fast. So we're just horsewomen it up now. I'm going to make a whole heaping guess that the match at Survivor Series will not be Becky Lynch versus Charlotte, but will be Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks. That's going to be my guess. Why? Because the title exchange is probably going to be in lieu, and this is me giving WWE too much credit, and I know that, in lieu of Becky losing the Raw Women's title to Bianca Belair on an episode of Raw. If not Monday, on the road to Survivor Series, Bianca Belair is going to win that title. And likely, Sasha Banks is going to beat Charlotte for her title too. Now, you could have done at least one of those things in the run-up to Crown Jewel, right? But they decided to push it down the road. But I'm guessing it's not going to be Becky and Charlotte at Survivor Series. If it is, I would be surprised. I know that Becky and Charlotte have the most history, but Sasha and Charlotte also have a lot of history too. I think they both will lose. And this will probably be the last dance for both of them as champion for a little while. Neither one of them really need a belt right now. Charlotte is hurt. The big hit on her, I think, is, who are you if you're not the champion? What is your personality or whatever? Which I think is pretty good. I forgot who said it already, though. I think it was Alexa Bliss. But Becky doesn't really need a belt. Becky can carry the big time backs and all that kind of stuff without being a champion. It just adds to it that she is the champion. So I could definitely see them finishing up Becky and Bianca because they're not done. And they still have a lot of history left, especially considering Becky didn't beat Bianca at Crown Jewel. She beat Sasha Banks. I could see them wanting to finish that up and put the belt on Bianca. And you could maybe have Bianca and Charlotte at Survivor Series, which might be the match too. Which is probably why they didn't give that finish away on TV a couple of weeks ago. So that's entirely possible as well. I'm giving WWE way too much credit. I'm pretty sure it's just going to be Becky and Charlotte. But I'm saying you have a lot of options here. Most of them are, Bianca and Charlotte is probably the best option for me, because they had a match. It was a very good match, but there was no finish. So you go back to that and you give the finish this time, which would probably be Charlotte winning, and I'll be very upset. So that was the main segment, and it was stupid because it was a title exchange, and it leads to the forever, never-ending feud of Sasha and Charlotte. First match, Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn. 40 minutes into the show. 15 minutes into my show. Drew introduced himself for unknown reasons. It's like, you're the WWE champion. Why are you introducing yourself? And he's like, I kind of new to SmackDown. Like, you're not new. You were on SmackDown in 2008. You're not new. Which also, of course, negated all of Sami Zayn's promo. Sami Zayn, for starters, they changed his theme music. R.I.P. the great Sami Zayn theme. It was too happy, though. It doesn't fit his new character. His Cuban Revolution character. It doesn't really fit. So, them changing his theme, I'm okay with it, only because his new theme seems to fit the character a lot more. And it seems like they're doubling or tripling down on Sami Zayn as a heel. And they're not going back to him being a babyface anytime soon. But he's also kind of hit his ceiling since he can't be world champion. He's been Intercontinental champion for a couple of times now. He's kind of in what he called himself a gatekeeper, which is not a good thing to be. It's not a good thing to be. But it's a solid spot, you'll always be featured. And he called Drew McIntyre a newbie and said that SmackDown is his show and that, he accepts his open challenge because Sami Zayn is the best on SmackDown, which, if he was positioned a little bit better, I would agree. I have really become a huge fan of Sami Zayn. I hated him in NXT. I hate him. He was so bland. It was awful, man. And that was around the time I first started watching NXT. Because I wasn't on the train immediately. I started watching NXT right after the first takeover. So, because everybody was like, oh, you need to watch Takeover. Like, okay, I'll watch it. And I watched it. I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty good. But I was like, that Sami Zayn kid, man, he's a plain cracker. No salt at all. He's not good. But everybody swore up and down he's the best babyface in the world. And I was like, well, he's a pretty good babyface, but he was super bland. Since he's turned heel, Sami Zayn has been fantastic. He's been excellent. His promos have been very good. He's still a conspiracy theorist, but not to the degree that he was. And now he's a master strategist, Sami Zayn. And I like that idea too. I just wish they did more with it. I really wish that we could have got Sami Zayn versus Edge. To me, that would have been so much fun. Because, Sami Zayn is just like Seth Rollins and just like Edge in the way that he's a tactical character. So that could have been so much more fun. But they had to move Edge to Raw, which sucks. But this match was okay. Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn. It was a cold match. It meant nothing. I don't think this feud is over, though. I think they're going to go back to this probably next week, knowing WWE. They love doing rematches. You got the coronation of King Xavier, and his gospel is that he is the bringer of new days. And he stood out there with a crown and a scepter, looking like a broke-ass Doctor Strange, and all of a sudden, where nothing happens. They did the big spiel about, the crown of respect, the cloak of protection that he's going to place upon the WWE Universe, the scepter of power, and, I'm like, okay, who's going to be the ass? Who's going to come out here and step all over this? It's got to be somebody, right? We can't just let Xavier Woods come out here and cut this nothing promo about being king of the ring and all this stuff. Now, he did cut a really good promo after he won in Saudi Arabia. He talked about, being a kid and really wanting to be the king of the ring, and this is all he ever cared about. He should have cut that promo here. That promo he cut that was on the network or Twitter or whatever, he should have cut that promo here. They were too in character here, with Kofi being very silly and being very over the top. And Kofi is also Xavier is also being silly. And that's why I didn't want them to win the King of the Ring. I looked at it, I was just like, man, it's already silly. It's already a game show or something silly like that. That's not what I wanted for the King of the Ring. I wanted the King of the Ring to be like, all right, this is just the first step. But he cut this promo. It was on Twitter where he talked about, he never won too many singles accolades. He never had any singles titles. So that made this even more special, but it was something that he wanted anyway. Even as a kid, he really just wanted to be king of the ring. And he never thought it would actually happen. That promo needed to be done in front of people here with all the emotion and it really would have put over being king of the ring. And then, because I love heat, somebody should come out there, and preferably Jinder Mahal or somebody like that who was in the tournament and lost, and said, "Oh, it was a fluke. You're not a real king. You're idiot with a crown." And it led to something interesting. But no, we just got New Day foolishness. Not happy about SmackDown. Was not my favorite episode of SmackDown this week because we got outside of Brock doing Brock things, we got a title exchange and we got a king's coronation. Neither one of those things were very interesting to me. It could have been interesting, but they were not. And I was not happy about the king coronation because there was no heat. Then I was also not happy with the Monsoor Mustafa Ali rematch because we literally just saw this match 24 hours prior. And Monsoor wins by out-wrestling Mustafa Ali. And now Mustafa is very frustrated. He's very angry. He's very upset. But Monsoor wins again. And I did see the Monsoor Ryback back and forth, where Ryback says Monsoor has no charisma and no personality. But Monsoor posted the picture of Ryback asking his followers what he should do next, and I'm picking retire. Good on Manny for that one, dog. Mansoor has been pushed kind of as a plain babyface, but he is a Reddit troll and all this kind of stuff. Like, he really has a personality. They just don't have him use it yet. But Ryback shouldn't be criticizing anybody, if we're being honest. What personality did he have? His personality was HGH. That's not a personality, dog. He's one of these idiots who renamed himself after his wrestling name. He's a low IQ lumberhead. Nobody gives a fuck about Ryback. And I'm not defending Mansoor, because I can say, look, Mansoor has a bit of a personality, but Ryback's critique was that, Manny is not doing anything, which I agree with. They don't give him a storyline. He has a storyline, but he doesn't have a character. He doesn't have a look, a presentation. He's not there yet. He's only been on the main roster for about a year. If that, we have to give him time to develop. He's had 2 straight storylines. He had the fusion of the tag team with Mustafa Ali, and now the breakup of the tag team with Mustafa Ali. Now, once this is over, we'll have to see what he does next. So I'm all about Monsoor defending himself against jagaloons like Ryback, who have no business talking about him. Ryback needs to mind his own business, go and create terrible protein powders or whatever the fuck else he's doing, as if he knows anything about protein and not just about sticking needles in his ass. Fuck Ryback, for the record, respectfully. So then we get a bunch of vignettes where we got a Xia Li vignette, which I was happy to see. They're actually building up Xia Li. Good. We got a short promo from Ridge Holland, who says he knew he'd always be here. Good. Aaliyah says SmackDown is about to get a lot more bougie. All right, good. Humberto Carrillo and Angel Garza talked about being pretty boys. All right, good. Then Sheamus talked about banger after banger after banger. And I was like, okay, we're planting the new seeds for the new era. I don't know why Sheamus was there. Sheamus has been on this roster for 11 years. Probably 13, 14 years. We don't need to put over Sheamus as much as we need to build up the other people, but okay. Everybody knows I love me some Sheamus. So Sheamus didn't tell any lies. He came there to tell the truth, and I always respect the truth. So the new era is pretty good. I hope Aaliyah and Humberto Carrillo and Angel Garza really get a good spot. I'm not too worried about Ridge Holland. He's a big dude. If he shows even an inkling of charisma and personality, WWE would take it from there. The problem is he has to show that inkling of charisma and personality. He has to. If he's just going to be what he was in NXT and NXT UK, it's going to be a trouble. He's going to have to be a little bit more than that. But I'm not too concerned about Ridge Holland because from a physicality standpoint, he's a big dude, which is what WWE really likes. So he's already got that in his corner. He's young. As far as I know, I don't think he's 30 yet. If he is, he probably is 30 or a little over 30. I don't think he's like 38 or anything. So he's going to have that on his side. They're going to take their time with him. They probably pair him with somebody else. I wouldn't be surprised if they put him with Sami Zayn or something like that in order to, get some more experience and to have a mentor. And so I'm not too concerned about Ridge Holland. I am definitely concerned about Aaliyah and Xia Li. Not only because they're women, which is a big problem already. That's a big red flag already. But also because they're small women. They're not like Raquel Gonzalez or anything like that, or like Rhea Ripley. Aaliyah has never been pushed in WWE, So as Xia Li got called up in the middle of her push, so she really got her push killed. So I'm not really sure what they're going to do with these very small women. But I'm willing to take it easy. I'm willing to be like, okay, cool. Humberto Carrillo and Angel Garza are my favorites of this whole new group. Xia Li being second. Only because I am a big fan of Angel Garza. I always have been. And think that he's got something. He just needs to be able to get time to show it. And I think, doing vignettes and stuff like that where he gets to, try to smooth talk the women's wrestlers and stuff could be really fun. As long as it's not like Nia Jax. We'll be good. All right, so the next thing we got to talk about here is the Hit Row debut. Hit Row, man. They come out and they did essentially their NXT introduction. But here's the thing. They introduced Hit Row. They made their debut in Wichita, Kansas. For starters, you had all these people, all these wrestlers, hop on private jets to fly, 12 hours, 18 hours from Saudi Arabia to Wichita, Kansas. Not California, not New York, Wichita, Kansas. Now look, I love America's breadbasket. I think that they're the most disrespected people on the planet. So I'm not going to go as far as to say, man, nobody should care about the Kansas crowd. If people showed up to the building, I don't care where it is. They deserve the best show that you could possibly give. But they gave Wichita, Kansas, a Wichita, Kansas level show. It's not fair. It's not right. But at the same time, this ain't the market for Hit Row. Okay? This ain't the market that you play Hit Row in. None of these people, there's probably some people who listen to rap in Kansas, of course. But they're not going to truly appreciate a rap group, a record label like Hit Row. They're not going to be able to appreciate that fully. The people of Kansas are sitting there like, what is going on here? Okay, now, if Hit Row had, I know they were on NXT, but very few people watch NXT. If there had been a couple of big markets that had really gotten it over, I think it probably would have got over even more in Kansas. I think they were starting to get over. But I was just kind of like, what a weird place to throw them out there. And maybe it was part of the test where WWE was kind of like, fuck it, pal. Get on out there. It's like, this is Kansas. It's not Chicago. If it was Chicago, they probably would have got a monster reaction or something like that. But it's Kansas. So they're like, why do we care about the rappers? We don't we don't care about this shit. So they came out there, they did their essentially the NXT introduction where I think either some of the lines were reused. They introduced themselves. I didn't catch this before if he said it before, but Adonis was talking about the ritual, which is RICHUAL, ritual. Okay. B-Fab, you know, they call me B-Fab because I B-Fab. Okay, I see that. And then they worked a tag team match, which was Top Dollar and Swerve versus a couple of job guys. And it was pretty hilarious because Top Dollar was standing over the job guy and like leaning over him. And it was, you can see his shadow on the job guy's face. And the job guy was like, oh, wait a minute. That was very entertaining. They need to bring back the job guys, local job guys too. I think they were like guys from Wichita, Kansas or some shit. Like that was great. I think that the confusion comes in where people maybe not know where they're supposed to be heels or baby faces because they have the braggadocio of heels where they come out and maybe it's a black community thing where, you know, a lot of our baby faces are braggarts, you know, which is kind of encompasses the Bianca Belair thing too, where everybody hated Muhammad Ali, thought he talked too much. But over time, people were kind of like, wait a minute, this guy's funny, he's witty, sure, he's braggadocious, but, you know, he's great, you know, and we like him. Floyd Mayweather is another one. To a lot of white people, Floyd Mayweather is a heel. You know, but to a lot of black people, Floyd Mayweather is a babyface because we respect his swagger. And, you know, that's kind of how we get into that thing with Bianca Belair, where is she a heel or she's such a heel. All she does is talk about herself. But that swag is a babyface thing in the black community, which is why she, you know, has been so successful. And Hit Row now have the same situation where they are in a situation where to a lot of people, they're going to end up being kind of heelish. They're probably going to end up being heels for all the goddamn rhyming, which, you know, that's turning them heel with me. That's for sure. We don't need to have rap all the time. We get it. You're a rap group. You don't have to overdo it. Turn it down, you know, turn the rap part down, turn the rest of it up, you know, but, that's going to be a issue there, but they got a pretty good, match out of this. As far as the job guys are concerned, Top Dollar had to carry both guys at the same time. Swerve did a kick. You know, it's exactly what I thought it would be. And that is WWE pushing Top Dollar to the front, which of course is what was expected from the beginning. If his knees and ankles and stuff can hold up under his tremendous body weight, Top Dollar should be pretty good. He should go off pretty well. And Swerve, again, should be there, the vet. I look forward to what they do in a bigger stage, but the Wichita, Kansas thing was hilarious. I don't see why they did that to them. I don't see why they did that to them. All right, so the main event, quote unquote, which was essentially the fourth match on the show, my boy Rick Boogs introduces Shinsuke Nakamura, who's going to wrestle Happy Corbin, and Happy Corbin actually wins the match with the end of days, as Rick Boogs distracted Nakamura because Madcap Moss attacked him, and it was a championship contenders match, which is my favorite kind of match. I was distraught. Madcap Moss, of course, told a very bad joke, and I was just like, oh, all this. Look, here's the thing about Nakamura and the Intercontinental title. I love Shinsuke Nakamura. I was a fan of him when he was in Japan. He's one of the few Japanese guys I really, really, really enjoyed watching. But when he is a champion in WWE, he disappears. They make him a champion and that belt vanishes. You know, like it absolutely goes into the nether realm immediately. And he has been champion for quite a while now. and I couldn't tell you the last time he defended it. I'm pretty sure it was against Apollo Crews, but was that a month ago? Was it 2 months ago? Was it 6 weeks ago? I don't know. You know, like whenever they just like Nakamura enough to make him a champion and think that he's entertaining enough in the ring to be a champion, they just don't like him enough to actually put him in storylines. You know, so he just comes out with the belt and he poses with it and he dances with it and that's it. You know, that's his entire title run. And that's been every title run. It's been Nakamura just basically looking very stylish with a belt. Vince just likes how Nakamura looks with belts. Just give him a belt then. You know, Nakamura, something's missing, pal. Make him the Intercontinental Champion. All right, so what kind of storyline are we going to put around this boss? No title. No title matches. I just like the look of it. And that's just it. Nakamura is there with the belt, like, bow. Just being a model. Just like, bow. Look at this belt. Boom. You know? And that's it. You know, he doesn't do anything. So that makes it, when he loses, a ridiculous situation. Like, I know he lost. There was some shenanigans with Madcap Moss and all this kind of stuff. But I don't like it. Not only do I not like champions losing, which I'm not a fan of. Not a fan. But I'm also not a fan of Nakamura losing because he doesn't wrestle that often, you know, and he doesn't defend as often enough. If he had wrestled in Saudi Arabia and then lost, you could always say, oh, well, he was jet lagged from Saudi Arabia or whatever, you know, which, you know, you could always play that card, even though it didn't, you know, affect Monsoor or somebody like that. You could always say, oh, he was jet lagged from Saudi Arabia or whatever. But in this situation, you're like, neither one of these guys was in Saudi Arabia. So they could have had a longer match. I'm also not interested in Happy Corbin being the Intercontinental Champion. So if that's where they're going with this, I'm not. I would rather Nakamura have the belt and disappear into a snowstorm to be a male model with the Intercontinental title. I would rather that happen than to give it to Happy Corbin. And I know maybe that's Happy Corbin's heel work. It's like, no, if it was down bad, Baron Corbin, and he just lucked into winning a title and now he's rich again, that would have been the story to tell. Right? That's the story that you tell. If you knew you were going to make him the Intercontinental Champion, which they probably didn't. Tell me they didn't think about this too much. They could have said Corbin is down bad, you know, he's got nothing, and then suddenly he wins the Intercontinental title, and now he's rich again because the title brings more money. So now he's like, you know, now that he's Happy Corbin because he's the Intercontinental Champion, and now he's rich again. But they made him rich, and now they're threatening to make him the champion. But I don't. And plus, these things don't seem to work out well with Corbin being a champion. Or a winner of something. You know, Corbin as Mr. Money in the Bank didn't work out. Him being the United States champion for that short time that he was, that didn't work out either. He seemed to be a guy that they seemingly only do things outside of him being the champion, which is very rare. Like there's a lot of guys, you know, in the past, Jake Roberts, Roddy Piper, you know, those guys, they will have lengthy feuds. They have nothing to do with titles. You know, it would just have a run with a guy, you know, and they can have that run last forever. And there's nothing to do with a title at all. That was the good stuff about wrestling, by the way. When guys used to have long running feuds and it had nothing to do with titles, Randy Savage and Jake Roberts, for instance, there was no title on the line. Neither one of them was a champion. Ain't nobody cared about winning a title. They had their program, and their program could main event any show because it was that strong. That's where, you know, you get to the next level where you don't need a title, you know, and it seems like Corbin is one of those guys where they see him and they say he doesn't need a title. He can play a character, you know, so he have all these different characters for him. And throughout his entire run in WWE so far, he has played every major role. He's been a henchman. He's been broke. He's been, you know, the lone wolf. Now he's a happy millionaire, but he's never been the champion. Is that going to change? I don't see why it should. You know, if I was going to take the belt off of Nakamura, there's a couple of guys I see on the roster who could use it more than Corbin. Corbin doesn't really need it. You know, would it complete his turn from being down bad to being lucky and everything is great? Sure, but I think you could find other ways of doing that. So, and plus, what in the world do you do with Nakamura if he's not the champion? I don't know, and maybe that's because he's not the king of the ring anymore either. So I have no idea what you do with Nakamura if he's not the champion. But you also have to look and say, look, he's been champion for a little while now. There is other feuds and other guys who probably could need that title more. So I think we should probably be looking more towards that. And I think maybe Corbin won't get it, and that's why he won this match. Is that they wanted to give Corbin a win so that he looks like a threat when Nakamura finally beats him in the title match. Okay, cool. I can definitely see them more leaning towards Nakamura and Jeff Hardy, Nakamura and Sheamus. I think the Sheamus one is far more likely. They'll probably make Sheamus the Intercontinental Champion. And I'm looking forward to those days because I love me some Sheamus. But let me know what you guys think about all this nonsense in the comment section below. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, donate to the channel, and I'll talk to you guys later.